Well, we're in MREA today. We are covering the 24 topics of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, and we are going to be discussing topic number 3 today. And topic 3 is the attack strategy, 9 ways a millionaire real estate agent thinks. Page 71. So let's take a look at the way you are attacking your business. And I'm going to start out with 4 questions. The first question I have for you is, are you clear about your motivations? And please write these down, because these are questions that I would love for you to spend some time answering later on in your journal. The first question is, are you clear about your motivations? The second question is, are you clear? Are your goals big enough to pull you towards them? Life gets hard, life gets in the way. And if your goals are not big enough, you're going to get distracted. You're going to look for detours. You're going to look for dead ends. And your goals have to be big, really, really big, in order to pull you through that stuff. The next question.
Can you repeat it?
Yes.
Please. Can you just repeat it, please? Thank you.
Yes. Are your goals big enough to pull you towards them? The next question I have for you is, are you caught up in the problems? Does the daily muck get in your way? Are you caught up in the problems? The last question is, are you committed, and have you articulated your standards and your service? Do you know what your standards are? Have you articulated them? Have you written them down? Let me give you an example of what I mean by standards. We close most of our Survive to Thrive conversations with, what is work? Work is 20 conversations, not 19, not 18, not 17. And for those of you who were at Bold yesterday, you learned the definition of lead generation is 20 conversations, not 19, not 18, not 17. Those are standards. If I have 17 conversations and I stop because I'm close enough, I didn't have the 18th conversation, which could have been $1 million listing that I didn't get, simply because I didn't have the conversation. So I have a standard of 20 conversations a day in order to complete lead generation. Another standard is my number 1 job every day is lead generation. Until lead generation is done, everything else is a distraction. Jennifer, we talked about this the other day when we met. I shared with you, you've got 2 jobs. This is it. Lead generate every day to get an appointment. And until you get an appointment, just lead generate more. That's it. There's your job description. You want to be successful at real estate? Do that. All right, page 71, Gary Keller says about 1/3 of the Think a Million formula is attitude and perspective. You want to learn more about perspective? Read The Noticer by Andy Andrews. That is the best book on the planet when it comes to perspective. Yeah. Perspective is the only thing that can dramatically change the outcome of an event without changing any of the facts. How you look at things matters. What you focus on expands. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. He goes on to say, when you are looking to change your habits, you need to be more precise and a little bit more on purpose. If you want to improve the way you think about your real estate career, you'll have to start by zeroing in on some key specifics. In breaking down the 9 ways a millionaire real estate agent thinks, 2 categories: think powered by a big why and think big models and big goals clearly stand out. In other words, those are the most important. Think powered by a big why and think big goals and big models. Why are you doing this? What is your why? spend time thinking about this. It's critically important. And two things on this before I move on. Your why, your big why can change. My big why has changed many times over time. Also, if you're having a difficult time finding a big why, a lot of smaller whys can add up to a big why. The big why that will constantly push you to do more is to be on in a constant pursuit of growth, both business growth and personal growth. The reason that will always push you is because you'll never reach the destination. You'll never get to a point where you can't grow anymore. If you did, what would you do then? Just stop and look around and go, okay, I'm on the top of the mountain. Now what? Looks good up here. What do I do now? All right. Okay. All right, moving on. Page 71. Actually, I'm going to skip over to page 72, guys. I'm on the second paragraph. Over the years, whenever I consulted with agents, I always probed for the ways they thought. That's important. So many times when we talk to a top producing agent, we ask them, how did you get where you are? What did you do in order to get where you are? And it's the wrong question. The right question is, how do you think? What is your mindset? What did you do when you hit a challenge? What did you do when you hit a ceiling and you couldn't break through? How do you overcome disappointments? What do you do when you fail? How do you respond to failure? Those are all really good questions because you're getting into how they think. I want to know how they think more than I want to know what they do. Because if I can model their success, I need to model how they think. And one of my very first masterminds with Gary Keller is speaking to a room full of the top real estate agents in the country. And the only reason I'm in that room, because I'm not one of the top agents in the country at that time, is because I'm a part of Gary and Nikki team, and they are part of one of the largest, most successful real estate teams in the country at that time. This was back in 2002. Gary Keller said to the room, we're going to teach our agents to think differently. And the way they think will become their number one competitive advantage. So Moseline, if I told you your greatest competitive advantage is going to be how you think, not what you do, then I would encourage you to spend more time and effort on what you think, how you think. So Gary would say, I would always probe for the ways they thought. When they would tell me about their current production level, I wouldn't announce it as good or bad, but simply asked how they felt about it. I asked them why they chose real estate and what kept them going. Really good question. Talk to a top producer, ask them that question. And before 30 minutes was up, I could usually identify at least one of the 9 ways that had evaded them. We're going to go through the 9 ways a millionaire real estate agent thinks in just a minute here. And what Gary is saying is, as a coach, as a teacher, as a trainer, his job was to look for the gaps. It was to look for the blind spot. It was to look for one of those 9 ways that a millionaire real estate agent thinks that this particular agent he was speaking to, that way that a millionaire real estate agent thinks had evaded them. Okay. Now, make no mistake about it. While some of the 9 ways the millionaire real estate agent thinks are more vital than others, all are essential to creating a high level of success that can weather storms and the test of time. All right. The number one way a millionaire real estate agent thinks, this is on page 71, is think powered by a big why. When I first got my real estate license in 2002, I got my license because my wife thought it would be a good idea. I actually had no intention of selling real estate, but I gave in because she said I should. And for all of you guys out there, when your wife says do this, just do it.
Yes, dear. That's what we got.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't always, Jennifer. I mean, it took me time, right? You may think I'm smart now, but I wasn't always, because my first response to her was, I don't want to sell real estate. You got to be kidding me. I'm not doing that. All right, fast forward, I got my license and I'm selling real estate, and I'm selling real estate part-time. And 6 months in, I had sold one house. So I'm crushing it, right? Hashtag sarcasm. And my full-time career was working in the fundraising business. It was the product fundraising business. For those of you moms and dads out there who have kids that are selling cookies and candy and gift wrap and stuff like that, that was me. I was the one that was sending them out to sell that stuff. And it's actually a multi-million, everybody hates me right now, right? Just darts being thrown at me, right? I get it. It's actually a multi-million-dollar business. It's much bigger than most people think it is. And I was doing really well at it. I was one of the top fundraising sales reps in the United States. I was making a lot of money. I actually owned part of the company that I went to work for. I'm living a really good life and bored as hell and not happy. And that's when my wife said, you know, you're not having fun anymore. Guys, pay attention. She's really, really smart. When she tells you something, listen to what she's saying, because she's really, really smart. And I said, no, I'm not. So I got my license and I'm selling real estate part-time, 6 months. And the owner of the fundraising company that I'm working for contacts me and says, I don't like the idea that you're selling real estate part-time, even though he approved it prior to me getting my license, blah, blah, blah. He changed his mind. And he hit me with an ultimatum. The ultimatum was, quit selling real estate or we're going to fire you. So my response was, okay, give me a day. Let me think about it. I'll get back to you tomorrow. And that night I get an email from Gary Keller, and I'm thinking, oh boy, I got an email from Gary Keller. I'm super special. And it actually had gone out to everybody in the company. Okay, so I'm not special at all. And the email is a story about a man who's climbing a mountain and he falls. And he's got a rope tied around him that stops him from falling to the ground. It saves his life. And he's hanging onto this rope. It's important. Listen to it. It's part of the story. And he calls out for help. And the answer comes back, let go of the rope. And he responds with, I'm not going to let go of the rope. If I let go of the rope, I'm going to fall and die. He's hanging onto it out of fear. Also, very important part of the story. And the next morning, a group of hikers come along and they find him still hanging onto this rope, frozen, dead. And he's 3 feet off the ground. And the caption under the picture says, what are the ropes that you're hanging onto out of fear? And Moseline, I thought, wow, that's amazing. Gary Keller knows I have this decision to make. He knows that I want to let go of that rope. I want to tell the owner of this fundraising company in Dayton, Ohio to go to, you know where, and I'm going to sell real estate full time, but I can't do that because I have a son who's 5 years old. I have a daughter who's 6 months old. I have a mortgage to pay. I have car payments. I have insurance. I have food. I have family to take care of. How can I do that? I've sold one house. And I decide, okay, I'm going to let go of the rope. So I called the owner of the company in Dayton, Ohio the next morning, and I tell him, I'm choosing real estate. If you're going to fire me, fire me. Now I get a call from the bookkeeper before the day is over, and her message to me was, I've been told to take you off the payroll. I'm like, what does that mean? And she said, it means you're fired. Immediately, I found my big why. It was succeed selling real estate, or my family is homeless. I can't feed them. I can't pay the bills. I'm making $200,000 at the time, and I have to replace that income right now. I have a big why. I go to see the team leader of the Palm Harbor Keller Williams office, and I said, I need you to show me how to earn $200,000 selling real estate. He opened up this book and he went to the economic model and he said, okay, here's what you got to do. I said, okay, got it. Now I have a big why that's pulling me through all of the noise and people telling me that I couldn't do it. I'm working as a listing specialist for the Gary and Nikki team at the time. I'm not on a 50-50 split like most teams are. I'm making 25% of the commission.
Wow.
Plus I have a split with the office. And my goal is to make $200,000. Now, what I didn't know at the time is nobody had ever in that role that I was in, nobody had ever even earned $100,000, much less $200,000. It's a good thing they didn't tell me. I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to succeed. And because I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to succeed, I went out and sold 60 houses in the next 6 months.
Wow.
And made more than $200,000. But nobody told me I wasn't supposed to do it. I didn't actually know nobody had done it until actually I did it. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But that's having a big why. Now, don't hear me bragging. This story is not about me. I've told you before, I'm going to tell you again. If I can, you can. That's why I'm sharing this story with you. If you're hanging onto a rope out of fear and you're looking for encouragement to let go of that rope, then let me be your encouragement to do that. Thinking about registering for Bold? Is there a little bit of fear involved with writing that check for $800? Let go of that rope. But I can't. If I do, I might die. Let go of that rope. I promise you, the ground is just 3 feet below you. Let go of that rope. You're going to be glad you did. That $800 investment is going to turn into a $100,000 return. If you knew that was true, would you do it? You don't have to answer that question because I know it's yes. The next way a millionaire real estate agent thinks is they think big goals and big models. Begin with an 8-lane highway. That's a big goal. When they built 95 in South Florida, if they would have known 100 million people were going to be living in Fort Lauderdale and Miami many years later, hashtag exaggeration, right? If they would have known that, they would have built a much bigger highway, right, Nick? But because they didn't, it's a mess. If you haven't been on the road, just try it one time, okay? They weren't thinking big enough. Now, if you have a small goal and you have a small model, how far you can go, how high you can go, how many cars you can put on the road is going to be limited by the size of your goal and your model. Get that? If you're day one, I want you to go to the back of this book and I want you to learn the models to build a real estate business that nets $1 million a year. And I want you to start out with that model. Haven't sold a home yet? Fine. Start out with the model that nets you $1 million a year. John, it's not possible. How do you know? How do you know it's not possible? You haven't tried. The third way a millionaire real estate agent thinks is they think possibilities. Anything, everything is possible. The only thing stopping you is you. The fourth way a millionaire real estate agent thinks is action. When it's time to act, anything else other than action is the wrong decision. Take action now. The fifth way a millionaire real estate agent thinks is think without fear. I'm going to change this just a little bit because I don't think it's possible to think without fear. Gary Keller, I'm sorry. Zig Ziglar calls fear false evidence appearing real. I would tell you that fear is faith in reverse. Fear is believing, which is faith, that something bad is going to happen. Faith is believing that something good is going to happen. Now, in both cases, you haven't seen the result yet. You either believe in a future based on fear, or you believe in a future based on faith. And I'm going to tell you that anything big is going to involve fear. If you look at it like this, this is where you are. This is your goal. This is where you want to go. You want to go here. And you've got this giant space between you and where you want to go. And that is fear. You can't go over it. You can't go under it. You can't go around it. The only way to get where you want to go is to go through it. Faith is not the absence of fear. Faith is feeling fear and doing it anyways. Number 6, think progress. Every day, get a little bit better than you were the day before. Get a little bit better at mastering your lead generation scripts. Get a little bit better at overcoming objections. Get a little bit better at closing for a listing appointment. Get a little bit better at presenting a great listing presentation in order to get the listing. Get a little bit better at understanding the market in order to become the local economist of choice. Get a little bit better every day, and you're making progress. The seventh way a millionaire real estate agent thinks is to think competitively and strategically. Turn it into a game and play to win. Turn everything you do into a game and play to win. Lead generation is a game. The winner is the person who has the most contacts at the end of the day, Nick. The winner is the person who scheduled the most appointments. Track how many appointments you go on in a month. The winner is the person who goes on the most appointments. Track how many listings you get. The winner is the person who takes the most listings. Turn everything into a game. Gamify real estate and play to win. Growing up, I was a jock, still a jock. Once a jock, always a jock. It just never leads your blood. I'm sorry. And I was extremely competitive. It didn't matter what we were doing. I wanted to win.
A little bit of that.
I'm still a jock, except my sport today is real estate. And I play to win. I get really grumpy when I don't win. Number 8, think standards. Have a standard for everything you do. And when I say everything, I mean everything. How you answer the phone is a standard. When somebody asks you how you're doing, your answer is a standard. If you ask me how I'm doing, what do you typically hear?
Great.
Never had a bad day? Always good? Better today than I was yesterday? You're never going to hear okay. You're never going to hear so-so. You're never going to hear anything negative, even if I'm having the worst day ever. You're not going to hear it. It's a standard. How you answer the phone is a standard. If you call me, the Dietz team had a standard for answering the phone. You answer on the third ring, not the first ring, not the second ring, third ring. And you answer with, it's always a great day at the on the Dietz team. This is John speaking. How can I help you? It's a standard. Your outgoing voicemail is a standard. How you serve your listing clients is a standard. Feedback is a standard. Everything you do is a standard. The ninth way a millionaire real estate agent thinks is service. You are not in the business of selling real estate. You're not. You are in the business of serving people. The motto of the Dietz team was people helping people. That was it. People helping people. That's what we were in business for. We were in business to help people. And when somebody would come to me that was a part of my team, Nick, and they would say, you know, I've got this opportunity to list this condo, but it's $120,000. What should I do? And I'd say, we're people helping people. What do you think you should do? Go get the listing. Yes. Go get the listing. We're in business to help people. We're not in business to make money. Money comes because we help people. Okay, talk to me. What'd you hear? Put your hand in the air